Hi, Annette. How are you? Welcome to Let's Talk Paralegal.
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's
Oh
an
my
honor.
God. I'm so excited about this. We were having a little quick chat before the recording, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say. And for those of you who don't know the connection between Annette and I, we actually met through LinkedIn. And I don't know how, I don't know if she connected with me. I don't quite remember what the dynamic was, but I went immediately to her profile and was drawn and was intrigued on everything that she had to offer. So I said, hey, so by the way, I have a workshop. Do you want to join me on the workshop? So on the April workshop, she's going to be our guest speaker, which thank you for that in advance. And she's going to talk a little bit about SEO marketing and basically what Lockquill is all about. But today we're just going to have a quick chat about who she is, what made her do all this intriguing things, because she has a really interesting background that I think you guys would love. And most of the audience are legal professionals anyway. And most of them are trying to find their niche in the legal industry and maybe not just go the paralegal or the lawyer route, right? So there's all these different intricacies in between those roles that a lot of people don't know about, right? And a lot of people don't touch upon. So I like that you kind of fall into that category and kind of give that to the audience, just a little more, I don't know, diversity, right? Because there's so much to do in the legal industry. So go ahead and talk about a little bit of what you do and what you're all about.
Well, I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for 20 years, and I worked for the federal government for almost that whole time. And then now I own a digital marketing agency that focuses on SEO and content creation for small and solo law firms.
Look at that, guys. I mean, talk about dynamic. I love it. That's awesome. What got you into this, by the way? Because that's, from federal government to marketing and SEO. Like, what's the connection there? I'm intrigued.
Well, out of before, it's kind of, but I before I went to law school, I went to graduate school for theater and film, and
Okay.
did some professional comedy. So I did not want to eat ramen noodles my whole life, frankly. And
Mm.
so I thought, well, I should have something to fall back on. So I went to law school, and then kind of never left, like never got quite to Broadway yet. But I really thought out of law school that I was going to be doing trial work. And then some of my friends were doing trial work, and it was really very emotionally taxing for them and difficult, challenging to take on cases they didn't really want to take, but their law firm was telling them they had to take. And so I pivoted because I really wanted a work-life balance. So I pivoted and I got a job with the federal government, which served me very well. After I got divorced, I was a single mom for a really long time. The benefits of federal government jobs are really good in terms of just benefits and time off. And so I did that for, like I said, nearly 20 years. And I got remarried. My husband is super supportive and totally amazing. And
Oh,
he knew that my job was just soul sucking. I mean, I was just living in this beige cubicle world with no kind of input from my own. I just couldn't be creative. I couldn't sort of carve out my own destiny. There was a lot of roadblocks there with regard to women in certain areas, and it was just challenging for me. And I didn't really think I had another option. Well, as these discussions were going on with my husband, I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't really want to start practicing law. I don't
yeah.
really
It's not
know.
something
Like,
that you really want to,
yeah,
do.
and I mean, I'm already 20 years in. Like, how do you even start? And I just really didn't, and I'm on all the websites. I'm trying to find all of the things. Maybe there's something I can do. And it was completely, I believe it was just completely God giving me just a complete blessing. One of my friends said, hey, would you like to write for a law firm for SEO? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about right now. And she's like, SEO. And I'm like, mm-hmm. And I had to go Google SEO because I didn't even know what it was. I was
Don't
like,
worry, I'm
what?
learning about that just now too. So,
So this was several years ago. And so
Hmm.
I started looking into it. I'm like, well, let me try. And I had talked to our ethics coordinator at where I worked at the Department of Labor, and they said, no, it's totally fine as long as you don't write about ERISA law or fiduciary duties or IRS or something. I'm like, okay. So I started writing for all these law firms, and I don't know what happened, but I loved it. It was like, finally, I could do something that was very research oriented and not only with the research of the law, but research with SEO and keywording and all of the different things that go along with that. And if anybody doesn't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization, which just means you're trying to get somebody to the top of Google. So on that search engine. And
Just
so
a fancy word.
fancy. And so, I just started loving it. So I started doing it more. So like, here's my federal job and here's this job. And I just started doing it more and more. And now I'm working 2 full-time jobs.
Wow.
And my husband is like, just jump. And I'm like, I can't jump. I don't know how to do that. And he said, if you've ever watched Indiana Jones, where he just puts his hand over his heart and says, I'm going to just trust. I'm going to just take this leap. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Aww.
So now I own my own digital marketing agency. After working with several other large digital marketing agencies, I felt like I could really offer something to small and solo law firms that they can't get because they can't afford these.
They can't afford it. Yeah, I know. I do the same thing on the paralegal side. So yeah,
yes.
I totally connect with you on there.
And then to connect the paralegals, I realized that there's this whole industry of paralegals out there that, frankly, it's a competitive field. Everyone is looking for not only employment, but a way to enhance their skill set so that they look like a better candidate for a law firm. And I thought, well, why don't I just, the same type of SEO and marketing that I'm teaching law firms, I can teach paralegals, and they can offer that as another option on their resume, another skill set that, if a law firm is looking for someone and all the candidates are equal, and then there's one that's more equal, that, that has more stuff, then they might hire that person instead because they do know how to maybe write a legal article for their law firm or do social media marketing or something like that.
Yeah, and especially like if you get into these small little law firms where you're literally everything. You're the tech person, you're the receptionist, you're the paralegal, you're the assistant, you're like all in one. Sometimes you're even a personal assistant. Like I had this one attorney it was just literally him and I in this law firm, and he asked me to go pick up his laundry, like his dry cleaning. And I'm like, wait, what? When did I become a personal, assistant? What's going on here? So, I mean, we do become that all-in-one person depending on the dynamic of the firm. And sometimes it has a lot to do with the trust, right? Obviously, the person has trust in you, so they entrust those responsibilities on you, which great, but, that's not really my job. That's not really what I was trained for, to pick up dry cleaning. But, like skills like this would benefit, I think, and that's what we're going to get into at the workshop, which we're not going to get into too much. But, that it can also market yourself, right? Learning how to do your own thing and doing your own websites and your own blog and all of that good stuff too to market yourself.
And it can also help you command a higher salary, right? Like
exactly.
if you say, not only can I do everything, what is expected of everything that's expected of a paralegal, I also know how to write blog posts for a law firm that are optimized for SEO and are keyworded correctly, or I know how to do social media marketing, or I know how to do these things. I mean, not only may you get a job and beat out your competition, you may get a higher salary because of it.
Absolutely, because now you are like that content creator on top of your responsibility. So it's kind of like a 2-person job. And I'm going to be honest, not a lot of paralegals have that skill. So it's definitely a nice skill to have. Yeah, for sure. So
well, and if you just think about it now, especially small and solo law firms, they have limited budgets, right? So they're small business owners at the end of the day. And if they are looking for a paralegal to hire, they probably want to get the they probably don't have the budget to also hire a completely separate person for their social media management or their blog post writing. They frankly may not be able to afford LawQuell. They may not be able to afford me to do all in my agency to do that for them. So, that is it's just additional skill set to have as a paralegal. Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it's a very competitive world out there, and it's getting harder and harder every day to be ahead of the game and to offer something that nobody else offers. Because again, really, according to the American Bar Association, there's only 6 skills that you need in order to be a successful paralegal, which I actually do training on that. So I'm being a little hypocritical right now, but once you leave that whole 9 to 5 world, or once you're wanting more for yourself as far as your career or as far as money wise, and you still want to stay in that 9 to 5, you already hit like a ceiling at one point, right? So you hit that ceiling and then you're like stuck and you have nowhere to go. So skills like this, totally great avenue to have.
Well, and speaking to that, frankly, to be honest with you, agencies like me, like large digital marketing agencies or smaller digital marketing agencies like me, are looking for writers, really good writers who understand SEO, who understand keywording, who can follow directions on formatting. Because writing for the internet, frankly, is very different than writing for a court or writing for a lawyer or writing a brief or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to be using Latin words.
No, but if you are a paralegal and you say, look, my employer is, all I can find, let's say all you can find is a part-time job, or, maybe it's not as much money as you want, you can then hire yourself out as a freelancer to write, supplement your income by writing as a freelancer for large digital marketing agencies like mine. I am always looking for really great writers, or even Upwork. I know several people who frankly make a lot of money on Upwork just as a side gig, writing legal blog articles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. Upwork is a great avenue. They do a lot of, I'm Upwork, so I have to speak to that I do make a lot of money on Upwork just on side projects and things like that too.
Yeah.
So anything like that, I think is really, I guess, beneficial, right? In any way. So
right.
any
more
new
skills you have, the more, like if you are on Upwork as a paralegal, you can also be on Upwork as a legal blog writer that understands SEO and keywording and all of the things.
Absolutely. So, I get hit up all the time for developers to develop technology and software for them. And because of the skills that the paralegals have, we have the in and the nitty gritty of all the, inside scoop, right, of a law firm. So they definitely want that knowledge in when they're creating these softwares that are meant for law firms. So, all this kind of like ties into enhancing those skills and really making it, beneficial to you, because like you said, you can do it on the side or you can do it full time. Like really, it depends on you.
And the thing is, if you think about it, now I don't do web design. We don't offer that as an option. We don't do paid marketing. But let's say you're a paralegal, just to sort of extend this out. Let's say you're a paralegal that also knows how to do a website, or also knows learned somehow how to do pay-per-click advertising, or understands Facebook marketing. The more and more arrows that you can put in your quiver regarding the skills and talents that you have, the more marketable you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said, right, it creates that story and that dynamic and something fresh, right? Because at this point, law firms are reviewing thousands of resumes, right? Like there's just, it's super saturated. Everybody's looking for a paralegal. We are on high demand right now. And that's great, right? Because finally we're being recognized, but it's also out of fault for those of us that have already been freelancing and have already been, in the industry. It's like, oh, great. Now I got more competition.
Well, and it's a lot of competition. So like you said, if you can sort of add arrows to your quiver that other people don't have. I mean, if you just think about it, if you learn how to do social media management and you learn how to do it well, one of the things that I'm actually creating a course on right now it's coming.
Flag.
It's not here yet. I got nothing to plug. But what it's going to be is it's going to be a very short course, and it's going to teach how to take one blog article and multi-purpose it and carve it up into almost 100 different ways, and then show step by step how you can take that and promote that through all of social media. Well, if a paralegal knows how to do that, they can tell a law firm, not only can I write your article, but I can promote it through all of social media dozens of ways.
Absolutely. I know. And I took your SEO course, which by the way, I loved. That was great. So she does have an SEO course. If you guys want to go ahead and take that, it's definitely worth every penny. It was really good, very informative. And you know, for those of you that don't think any of this is relevant to you, it totally is. You know, learning new skills is always going to be a thing. You know, I always have my little mantra that I have to learn something new every single day, because if you're in the unknown, especially if you're not in the 9 to 5 world, we used to get, like, when you're in a 9 to 5, you usually get like the most updated laws and the most updated content, because, you know, the attorney is constantly forwarding the information. But if you're like out of that world, you're out of that world, right? So you're having to educate yourself. And I mean, it's just, it's a challenge, but what I like about it is that technology has really stepped up, especially during the pandemic. So everything's truly accessible to you at a reasonable rate.
Absolutely. I think the reason that my business has grown exponentially in the last year is because of COVID, unfortunately.
I know.
But also, I think that it has broadened the idea of so many people. Law firms are now all going completely virtual, right? Which, like
that in a million
ago,
years, we
never
would have thought about
that.
it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
and
agree
also,
with that.
I think as a paralegal, you can say, these are the things I like about being a paralegal. These are things I want to do. These are the things I don't want to do. And these are the new things that interest me, like maybe like law blog writing or SEO or anything. It's just sort of like becoming a notary, right? Like if you have that, if you are a notary, public, if you have that, then that's just one extra thing that you can offer a law firm. Right. And then eventually what can happen, and I've seen it happen, is that certain people are so successful with writing and they love it so much, they just sort of stop being a paralegal and they just do this because it's more lucrative and they enjoy it more. Now, some people don't enjoy it, right? Some people don't, maybe they're not, maybe writing is not their skill set, or they don't enjoy the research, or they don't, they just, it's not their jam. Yeah. But I do think it's still important to know that skill set, because if you're asked to do that by a law firm, you can say, yeah, I can do it, and then not have to turn down, you know.
And it makes you more, I guess, I don't want to say indispensable, right? Because that's never an option, especially in law, but it does make you, come time for promotions, come time for, you know, money and review and all that, they got to put all that into consideration, and, you know, you might get
right, because more. Then they're not just losing their paralegal, they're losing their social media manager, they're losing their blog writer, they're losing all of that at once, and it does make you more
competitive and valuable. Right. Yeah, I would say more valuable. I think I like that.
Because then they will have, just think about it, if they let you go, then they're going to have to start the process all over, not just of finding a paralegal, but if they have gotten accustomed to the lifestyle in which they were living with social media management and with blog post writing, then they're going to have to find that if that's what they want. If they've seen that their Google rankings are going up because of the work that a paralegal has done, then they don't want to let that go. They need it. So now they're going to have to hire a social media manager and maybe a content writer and a paralegal. It's just too much. Just keep
exactly. And I've seen it happen. I've left law firms where in my place, they've hired about 3 to 4 people.
Yeah.
So it does happen. It's not outside of the box thinking. It definitely is a reality, especially.
Well, the more, and you know, it's not for everyone. Not everyone may be interested in writing long form content, 1,000, 1,500 words. Maybe they're not interested in that. But I highly encourage everyone to test it out. There's a formula at the end of the day regarding law firm blog posts. They're a little bit of a different animal than, let's say, travel blogs or things like that. Not that there's anything wrong with a travel blog. It's just that with a law firm, you have to sound sophisticated and experienced as an attorney, but then you also have to explain things in such a way that a person can understand them. And then you also have to speak to the Google box so that they understand the long tail keywording that goes into a blog post. So it's a bit of it is a bit of a science and an art form altogether. But you know, like anything.
But you do it so well.
Learn anything. What'd you say?
But you do it so well.
Oh, well, thank you. Listen, anybody can learn it, right? I mean, it's like anything. And I used the phrase before we got on here, which is that, as my mom always said, everything's easy once you know how, right? Exactly. Everything's easy once you know how. So
I mean, if you can do legal research and draft a motion for summary judgment or a brief, I mean, guys, hello, you can take 2 seconds or, a couple of hours and learn a new skill because it'll
Yeah.
definitely, and actually, I have to look into this, but I've never even seen a CLE course on these. So maybe
I
that's some.
taught one for Canada.
Okay, Canada. See, Canada always ahead of us in some things. That's crazy.
Well, I was asked to be on, I've given a lot of keynote speeches on this, issue on digital marketing and law firms, specifically content marketing and blogs and SEO and keywording. And I was on a program up in Canada that anyone who paid to have access to that conversation received continuing legal credits for that in the
Wow, maybe that's something you can do here. Just saying.
Well, I'm open for it. Actually, I'm in some discussions right now.
There you go. That's it. So you guys, look, the world is your pickle. It's, you guys can do whatever you want. And, the legal industry is so diverse. And I always say this, it pours into every other single industry in the world. So literally there's no limit.
No, there's not. And I will tell you that I was very trapped in my thinking when I was working for the federal government. I couldn't see, there was no light. I could not see what my options were. And I really thought my only option was to start my own law firm or stay with the federal government. I didn't really realize how many options are out there for attorneys. Same thing for paralegals, right? You can carve out a completely new career for you. I will be 50 this year.
What?
So
I did not know that. Oh my God, you look like you're 20. What, girl, we're going to talk about this after, but you're going to tell me your skin, treatment.
Well, you're my new best friend. No, but really, I will be 50 this year. And I started this, several years ago. So in my mid 40s, I shifted my entire career. This is possible at any age, at any amount of entrenchment, no matter how deeply you feel you are entrenched in either your career or the law firm that you work for or whatever industry you are in. I am the biggest proponent of saying I take away everybody's excuses because I had not everybody's, right? I mean, like there are some people out there who have like physical limitations or, potentially they don't have as supportive of a partner as I do. So, I should
I'm with you on that one. My partner is very supportive as well. So I got you.
Yes. So I should put those caveats out there. But I will tell you, I absolutely am proof that it is possible to take a 20-year career and then make a complete pivot into completely new industry and be frankly successful, very successful at it. And it was just a lot of hustle. It was a lot.
I got you, girl. I feel you. I see this face.
And anyone that's on, I will say this too, and I'm sure you will agree with me. Anyone that is on these Facebook groups or whatever that's like, oh, you don't need to hustle. You just need to believe in yourself and just I'm
sorry if I'm offending anybody, but
right, just make a mood board or whatever. Like, no, like you've got to like rubber hits the road. I mean, the amount of 12 and 15 and 16-hour days that I worked to get to where I am now, where I don't have to do that, it was monumental. But if you have, and this is not necessarily maybe for paralegals, but what I am saying is that if you take and hit a running start of learning all of this stuff, which is not nearly everything you need to do to have a digital marketing agency, although you could start a digital marketing agency. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. If you end up that you like it so much, maybe you're good enough at it that you can start your own one. You can compete with me. I'm just saying that is an option for you.
Yeah.
But to learn how to do all of this digital marketing is not, it's possible. It's absolutely possible for anybody to do. You just gotta have a little hustle.
Yeah, you do. You got to do anything, guys. And anything in life, if you want it, you got to work for it. Like nothing's going to be given to you. I've never heard of a success story that says, yeah, I've been working for a week and I got, all the success, like I
Right.
never heard that. Like everybody that you admire, that you follow, that you feel is the version of the success, because of course, success is perspective, right? A lot of people can make $30,000 a year and still feel successful as long as
Yes.
they're,
Yes.
making a difference in the world. And, some people do all the give their time for free. So, success is how you make of it, of course, and everybody has their own definition and vision of success. So lead with that, right? But what I'm trying to say is, nobody made it overnight, guys. Like those people on Forbes and TED Talk and, all these high-end magazines and news and all that, they didn't work for like a week and made it to Forbes. Okay, that's not happening.
No, there's that saying, right, that says it takes years of work to be an overnight success.
Right, because that's all they see. That's all the audience and the followers and everybody just sees, right? Like all these musicians, like they were living out of their cars. Some of them were homeless. Like look at Tyler Perry. I love his story, by the way. I love Tyler Perry's story. Total redemption right there. Like he was about to, it's ridiculous.
And at the end of the day, like again, I was in my mid 40s when I made this pivot. So there's really, you can do it at any time. It's harder when you start in your mid 40s trying to switch your entire career. It's harder than if you're in your mid 20s. And
not only that, you get comfortable, right? Like because you get I guess comfort again is perspective as well, but you get used to your routine. And a lot of people, it takes a lot of time for that routine to kind of like be like, okay, I'm done.
Well, and also I think that it's just, there's going to be a section of time depending on what you want to do. Like if you want to learn how to be a web designer and a digital marketer, it's going to take longer than if you want to do, which is kind of, I think, what we're going to talk about, in April, which is learning how to do legal blog posts and all of those things. That is not listen, it's going to take some time, but it's not like such a gargantuan undertaking that it's just insurmountable, right?
Not law school, guys.
It's absolutely,
or med school.
Right. It's not med school. Okay. It's not rocket science. Nobody's going to be putting a person on the moon with this. And if you just take the time to do it, and really just put forth a good effort and just stick to it, even when there are no results at the beginning, right. It's like weight loss. Right? Like you start seeing, you got to keep with it and all the things. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, how'd you lose all that weight? Well, it wasn't in one day.
Yeah, exactly. You have not seen me in a while then. No, I get it. Especially with COVID, that synonym is very nice.
It was a terrible example for me personally to give on that. I should take a little bit of my own medicine on it. But.
Oh my God. I know. You know what? I find myself doing that sometimes when I'm like coaching my paralegals and I'm like, you know what? I should really start taking my own advice because that was good. Like I should really start practicing what I preach.
It's always easier. It's always easier.
It's always easier telling somebody else, but it's like actually putting it into like, play. It's like, I don't know about that.
But I will tell you what I am talking about these legal writing these legal blogs. It is possible. I have done it. I've created an entire career and an entire business on it. So I can tell you that it is absolutely a skill that will be valuable not only to your own law firm that you are working for, but to other law firms as well as a freelancer. So, and digital marketing agencies are looking.
And especially now, like during COVID, where the internet is so saturated and like we're literally dependent on the internet. Like if we don't have internet, we don't have a business.
It's not going away. My mother, when I went through all of this, my mother said to me, well, what happens if like there's no internet anymore? I said, because I write articles for law firms for their
social media, for their blogs.
I'm like, listen, if there's no internet, we've got much bigger problems on the earth.
Seriously.
Than my career.
Yeah, exactly. So like something really went wrong.
Right. The internet is not going anywhere. And that is absolutely critical for every law firm to have an internet online presence and to consistently increase their digital footprint, or else they are not going to be competitive. And
like, let's be real. We have DVRs now. We can fast forward to commercials. We can skip the commercials. So the whole TV ad, you know, billboards on the highway. Nobody's stopping on the highway to read a billboard. Like, hello, guys. Let's be real. I don't even know who invented
people aren't going to work anymore, right?
Nobody's commuting. Nobody's commuting.
Nobody's commuting. Everybody's doing everything virtual. So the billboard industry is actually suffering. Yeah. So really, even if COVID went away tomorrow, I think that the lessons that law firms learned in this last year regarding how they can astronomically increase their phone calls to their law firm through the internet, that lesson is not going to be unlearned. And so, and
it's not going away even after COVID. Like, it doesn't matter. That's not going away. The power of the internet is truly incredible. Like, I haven't met any, which I hope one day to meet, but I've seen YouTubers that started on YouTube that are now have shows on Netflix. And it's like, whoa, you know, like that is like true power. You know, a lot of people start movements like the Black Lives Matter movement. All these movements that you guys see on TV, they all started on the internet, on Twitter. They all started on Instagram. Like this, you know, like again, goes to the point where it's not going anywhere, and you can literally make money off the internet.
It's just, so I'm so excited for April because
I know, I'm so excited. Don't give anything away.
No, I won't give anything away. No spoilers.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
But I am very excited because I genuinely have a passion for this, and
I couldn't tell.
I have a passion for small and solo law firms, and I do have a passion for paralegals because I think that they're pivotal to the success of law firms. So if my goal is to help small and solo law firms, then my goal has to also be to help paralegals, because they're the ones that are also going to be helping small and solo law firms.
Yeah, you know, I always say that paralegals and all the legal support team staff is the heartbeat of the law firm, right? The attorney would not be able to get the cases where they need to be without the support team. And I always use this analogy where the law firm is like a family, right? You want to work for a law firm that's like a family, that treats you like family, respects you like family. You know, that's where you know that you're in where you need to be right now. And I know it's hard, and this is just a little, you know, little tidbit on my end. I know it's hard. I know that we're all suffering, whether it's health or financial, or, you know, we all have our struggles. But don't concede to someone that you have a bad feeling about, you know, because at the end of the day, you're going to suffer more because you made that decision versus doing what Annette just said. Just learn a new skill, make your own, pave your way.
Life. I've turned down law firms before to work with them because they're too adversarial, and it's just toxic. It's not a good fit. And toxic. So, you know, life is short. And so if you're going to be spending time at a law firm working for them as a paralegal, you should make sure that it is not miserable.
Yeah, I know. If this is the living that you want to live, then, you know, at least have the option to make it good.
And circling back to what you provide, when you have more skill sets, let's say hypothetically, you're a web designer, you can write, you know, you can do SEO, you can do paid marketing on Facebook. You have the choice. You have choices.
Absolutely.
You don't have to just take what you're given.
Comes your way. Right. Yeah. You can always, like, I am blessed to be at that point in my life where I can say no. I don't need your business.
I am too. And I've exercised my right to say no.
Yes.
More than one.
And I always say that in my communication section, right? Because I'm like, the best way to communicate something that you don't like is by saying no. I mean, you can say it politely. Obviously, you don't want to be like, no, I'm good. You know, you don't want to say it that way.
But my phrase is always, I think you're looking for something different. I'm not sure that this would be a good fit.
There you go. I like that. See, take note on that one. I like that one. I'm just like, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be in line with what you need.
Something really different. Like, I think what I really want to say is, I think you're looking for someone to completely micromanage and completely argue against, and that's not my dream.
That's not me. Yeah,
that's what I want to say, but instead I say, I think you're looking for something different, and I'm not sure we would be a good fit. I want you to be successful, so I'm going to just graciously bow out and let you find the person that is
will be willing to do that. Yeah.
the way that's going to help you
Yeah.
better.
I do that all the time. I think I've turned down 5, and I'm not saying this to brag. It's because I want to let you know that at one point in your life, you're going to be able to be that person, right? So I'm not bragging, but a lot of attorneys are looking for the sucker, the one that's going to do everything for like minimal amount. It's like,
yes,
what?
and if you
No.
have enough skills and you have enough experience in different areas and tons of, arrows in your quiver that you can pull out, you then get the right to say no, because you have other people waiting for you.
That's right. And that day is going to be amazing.
It's there. I believe everyone can do it. Again, it's hard work, but anybody, it is available for anyone. I believe that is a good thing about this country,
I know. I mean, look, guys, there is still good things about this country, regardless of what you see on the news. I would suggest you turn it off.
Yeah, me too. My mom.
Just don't even watch it,
No, my mom is I'm first generation here. My mom is Polish, and I have dual citizenship with both Poland and the United States. And my mom literally grew up in communism and literally came to this country on a boat with a suitcase.
There you go.
And I went to Poland many times while it was still communist. And I can tell you that the opportunities here, we have a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like, we pay for our freedom, right, through taxes and through everything else, but that's not a bad price to pay. Yes. Right? It's not a bad price to pay.
But there is a price also, which is hard work too.
Absolutely.
Is the
blood,
price.
Sweat, and tears, guys. Blood, sweat, and tears.
But I think people, frankly, like you, are so important because you are providing you have carved out a path already for people that their road becomes easier because you carved out a path for them to follow and then decide which directions they want to go on that path versus just feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to go. It is frustrating and can feel difficult and overwhelming. So when someone like you comes along for paralegals and carves out a path and says, maybe somebody's not interested in digital marketing. Okay, maybe they're not interested in this, but there are so many other things that you tell them that they can do and ways that they can be successful. I just think your voice is a very much needed one in this space. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I know. And I get that a lot from my guests, which obviously that's why they're my guests. No, I'm kidding.
That was not solicited plug either. That was
oh, nice. Yeah. She's not a sponsor by any means. That was just truth and honesty.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you. But yeah, it is, like you said, it takes a lot of hard work and a vision and passion, because if you're not passionate about it, there's just no point. There's just no point, because you'll have one of those days that you don't even want to get out of bed, but that passion and that drive is what's going to get you out of that bed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, thank you, Annette. That was amazing. I mean, I could talk to you all day, but we'll
I know, right?
In April. So again, our workshop's in April 7th. So don't miss out on this wonderful goodness that Annette's going to bring to the table, and me will collide and join forces, and we'll give you guys an amazing workshop. So definitely join us then. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It really was an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Annette. Bye.